my life lessons be good for something. Hi, and welcome back to Zoetopia, and welcome to the second episode of the Everything I Know podcast, where I share with you everything I know. And if you think there's something that I know that you want to know that I'm like holding from you, then just shoot me a message at Zoe Nell Robertson on Instagram. But today the curriculum is already set and we are going to learn how to deal with a narcissist. And let's just say you're in good hands. I don't claim to be an expert in everything, but narcissists, yeah, I know them, I love them, I keep them at a distance. What is it that Taylor Swift said? I know it's just a narcissist, but they love me. That's me. We're gonna do some learning this episode, or like all of it is learning. We're gonna be doing some school learning, but most of it is just gonna be practical advice. But segment 1 is a learning segment. It is understanding narcissism, and segment 2 is identifying narcissistic traits. Segment 3 is setting boundaries. Segment 4 is managing interactions. Segment 5 is protecting your mental health. Segment 6 is, of course, my favorite, a Reddit break. And like this one is tea. Segment 7 is avoiding manipulation and gaslighting. Segment 8 is knowing when to walk away. And then we have a conclusion and some closing statements. Gotta take some allergy pills. Like I'm a little bit like, oh, you know? Segment 1, understanding narcissism. Narcissism is a trait that is thrown around all the time. Oh, you're such a narcissist. Oh my God, taking selfies, such a narcissist. However, this is not narcissism. Also, narcissism is a spectrum, and some narcissists are psychopaths or sociopaths, some aren't. A lot of them are just hurt people, really. People think, oh, narcissists love themselves, and that's what you think about. You think about Narcissus, he's drowning because he's looking at himself in the water, right? But like, a lot of narcissists actually kind of hate themselves, and they're so hard on like, oh, but I'm good at this, I'm good at that, because like they value themselves for like, for example, their looks or their job or whatever. They don't value themselves for their heart or their personality or who they truly are. So it's really serious to them, you know? But okay, so narcissists often lack empathy. They have a grandiose view of themselves or an extreme view. Usually either they brag about themselves all the time, like look at me, look at this, look at that, or they're like in a good way, like, oh look, I'm so good at drawing, oh I'm so pretty, or like, oh I'm so ugly, oh I suck at everything. That's just narcissism. They're just talking about themselves. They want you to be like, oh no, but you're the best. Like they'll be like, oh I fail at everything. It's just stealing other people's spotlight, stealing other people's attention, stealing their time, making that about them. Doesn't have to be positive. That's what people get confused, you know? But that's for a specific type, you know? That's when they're doing it for like attention. However, even if it's that narcissist or that narcissist, if you say, hey, you did this to me, you did this wrong, they'll be like, that's impossible. No, that didn't happen. I didn't. Me? Doing something wrong? No. Yeah, they won't take the fault, they won't take the blame unless they're complaining like, oh, I'm so hopeless. If you say like, hey, you did this, that's one of the easiest way to spot a narcissist. Just tell them like a little thing they did wrong. If you say, hey, you forgot to put the ketchup in the fridge, they'll explode on you. Like, just like hours of why they left the ketchup out for a noble reason. If you criticize someone, not even criticizing, but like, hey, did you remember to check the mail, and they go off on you? Narcissist. I mean, everyone can have a bad day. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like, if this is a pattern, that's not normal, you know? And if you're talking to someone and 70% of it is just them talking about themselves, narcissist. But why take it from me? Well, we got a Mayo Clinic right here. Narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health disorder in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence, they are not sure of their self-worth and are easily upset by the slightest criticism. Why do people even read the Mayo Clinic? I just told you all of these things. Am I like actually a psychologist? Or do I just really know my dad? A narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationships, work, school, or financial matters, or all of the above. People with narcissistic personality disorder may be generally unhappy and disappointed when they're not giving the special favors or admirations that they believe they deserve. They may find the relationships troubled and unfulfilling, and other people may not enjoy being around them. But there is treatment, and that is talking, like therapy, also called psychotherapy. Narcissistic personality disorders affect more males than females. Don't we know it? And it often begins in the teens or early adulthood. Some children may show traits of narcissism, but this is often typical for the age and doesn't mean they'll go on to develop narcissistic personality disorder. I literally thought I was narcissist until I had like several psychologists be like, Zoe, you're not a narcissist. Like, you have narcissistic traits for sure. You're not a narcissist. Some symptoms have an unreasonably high sense of self-importance and require constant excessive admiration, feel that they deserve privilege or special treatment, expect to be recognized as superior even if they haven't done anything, make achievements and talents seem bigger than they are, be preoccupied. Am I a narcissist? Be preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or the perfect mate. Check, 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 check. Oh my god. Believe that they are superior to others and can be only understood by equally superior people or better people, Be critical and look down on people they feel aren't important. Expect special favors and expect people to do what they want without questioning them. Take advantage of others to get what they want. See, this is how it leads into sociopathy, but they're so often so connected. They're best friends. Have an inability or unwillingness to recognize needs and feelings of others. Be envious of others and believe that others envy them. Behave in an arrogant way, brag a lot, and come across as conceited. Insist on having the best of everything, for instance, the best car or office. Become impatient or angry when they don't get recognition and special treatment. Have major problems interacting with others and feeling feel slighted. React with rage or contempt or try to belittle other people to make themselves appear superior. Have difficulty managing their emotions and behavior. Experience major problems dealing with stress and adapting to change. Withdraw from or avoid situations where they feel they'll fail. Feel depressed or moody because they fall short of perfection. This is also a thing. Narcissists are perfectionists. That's why they kind of hate themselves, Have secret feelings of insecurity, shame, humiliation, or being exposed as a failure. This can come from environment, neurobiology, or genetics. And having neglectful parents or even overprotective parents can also exaggerate it. Segment 1 kind of bled into segment 2, but still, segment 2, identifying narcissistic traits, like I said, the thing with criticism is huge. Then also how they talk about people. I used to date a total, I can't talk about him without being like, oh, I hope he dies. Anyways, he had this friend group. We were in the same friend group. He would always talk shit about all of his friends. And not like, oh my god, did you see what Jess was wearing? That's normal. But it was like, such and such is such a this. Oh my god, she's not even pretty. He's not even that smart. I'm better at him in this and better at him in that. That's a narcissist. That's a narcissist. And also blowing all of the money he saved, had saved over years on a Mercedes when you're 19. Because you have to have the best car. Narcissist. Narcissists often live above their means. Or do stuff blowing all your savings. They'll live above their means because they have to have the best. So they often do come into financial trouble. Or just inability to take criticism and to work with others. So if you have a partner that's constantly losing his job, for example, or her job, if you have a partner that's constantly losing their jobs over disputes at work, that's a good sign that they might be a narcissist. And just criticizing others, but like not criticizing themselves, not being able to take criticism themselves, but being super critical of others, like freaking out over imperfections, like if their hair is wrong and it literally ruins their entire day, although like in a way relatable, but like in a more serious way than a relatable way, you know? Or even just if you have a partner who thinks that there are lots of things they can do, or even just if you know someone who thinks like, oh, I'm so good at this, I'm so good at that, and they just really aren't. And if you're like, hey, this is so triggering, I'm just recognizing narcissistic traits in more people I've dated. Okay. I feel like I could use examples from my own life and make a 10-hour podcast, longer even. I could just do like a full live stream, like a subathon, just talking about narcissistic people in my life. But like another one of my exes who thought he was good at like carpentry, who most certainly is not. And like when we were like, bro, that's crooked as fuck, he'd be like, you don't know what you're talking about. You have to make it crooked because the wall is like this. You didn't understand. It's like, bitch, you suck. You're not good at it. Like, just, they can't take criticism. Like, they just don't get it. They don't get that it's fucking crooked and it's not the wall's fault. It is your fault. But if you say that, they'll blow up at you. Oh, ooh, I forgot about this one. If they constantly belittle your feelings, your accomplishments, they want to be taken so seriously. Like everything they do is so serious. Your feelings are so important. But when you have an emotion, it's like, oh, why do you feel that way? Oh, why are you talking about this? Oh my. This is the most infuriating thing about a narcissist, in my opinion. It's just like they want to talk and talk and talk about themselves, talk about their feelings. And then when you bring up your feelings, they're like, so embarrassing for you to have feelings. And they're always just like, can you stop? Can you stop? And they just don't care. Like they struggle so much to pretend to care about your feelings. And that's noticeable. But it's more noticeable when you know it. Like now that I've told you, then you can see it more, you know? Like all of these things are easy to recognize if you do look for them. But if it's not in your mind at all, it's hard, you know? It's just a bunch of weird things happening. And also, as we'll get to with the gaslighting, they make it seem like you're the problem. So like even me, certified expert in narcissism, have fallen into several narcissistic traps because I was like, oh, I'm the bad guy. Everyone's gonna hate me. If I say anything, people think this is my fault because like, I'm not as emotional, I'm not as like overtly sweet as like other people, you know? And then eventually I realized like, oh, wait, gaslighting. And then when I like tell someone, like tell my brother, he's like, what? But that'll make you feel crazy is that you don't tell people because it sounds crazy. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because you are going to recognize, you're going to tell people. Especially like narcissists don't have to be abusive, but if they are abusive, tell people, call the police, call me. Segment 3, setting boundaries. That's the thing. Like I said, narcissists aren't necessarily abusive, but even if they aren't, they get kind of exhausting. And especially if they are, either cut them out or set boundaries, and what you do has to do with like how big it is, how big it's affecting you. Narcissists share an unfortunate trait with psychopaths where if they can get stuff from you, they will. They don't feel bad. They don't care if you'll give them money, if you'll give them leeway, if you let them be like this and that towards you, if you give them your time, they're gonna take it. So you gotta set boundaries. Like if someone keeps wanting money from you, even borrowing money, you just gotta be like, no. Or if they keep talking, complaining, you gotta be like, either like, hey, I'm sorry, like I love you, but I'm not a therapist. Or just be like, oh, look at the time, I gotta go. You know, you can choose if you want to say it right out or if you just want like, but you have to set that boundary. You gotta like set a rule for yourself and keep to that rule. If you're saying no, you're saying no. If you say yes once, one more time, they'll be like, but you said yes last time. What's changed? What's the problem? And they'll hardball you. Like how hard you'd be in business, they'll go like that in their personal life. They don't give a fuck. You gotta. you gotta be the person standing up for you, because like they'll just run you over. And I say like sexually too. If they're trying to pressure you because they feel like, oh, I deserve this, I deserve that, I want this, you gotta be like, no. And this is a boundary, and I'm telling you right now that if you do this, you're crossing my boundary and I will be calling the police. Or if they start threatening you, I'm just letting you know, I will be calling the police if this continues. And that is if you still think it will work. If not, if someone has, listen, if a narcissist has severely threatened you, if they have done anything towards you that is clearly abuse, call the police. Don't let them know. Don't tell them you're on the call the police. If you're in physical danger, if you think this person will go further, excuse yourself, get out of the situation, and call the police. But I'm saying all of this, setting boundaries, is if you think the relation, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, son, mom, grandma, if you think it's still gonna work, that's when you have to set boundaries. Like, I'll visit you, I'll call you, but only so much. And I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to hear that. Don't mention my weight. Don't mention what you think I should study. I don't care. If we're gonna be together, we're gonna have fun. It's gonna be positive interactions, and if not, don't call me. It's just figuring out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and sticking to that. You can have so much fun with a narcissist. They're often very fun, but you gotta set boundaries. Like, for example, my dad, whom I didn't diagnose as a narcissist, by the way. It's not like, oh, my dad's a narcissist. Like, he is a narcissist. So with my dad, he lived in America. We lived in Norway. Right now I'm living in America, but I'm not talking to him. But when I was, we got a house phone. And our house phone, when you called out, you couldn't see the number. It was a hidden number. So we'd call him. He couldn't call us. And that was the boundary, because we didn't want him calling at any hour of the day saying, Zoe, I need you to do better in math. Zoe, I need you to lose weight. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to just all of a sudden be like, oh, it's my dad, because that's how I feel, truly. But if I want to talk to them like, hey dad, what should I do about this? What should I do about that? I just pick up the phone and call my dad. And having that be a one-way street made it a lot more positive, because when I was calling my dad, I was calling for a reason. If he just had some sort of feeling, he couldn't just call me and like rant about it. And that really helped. And then we had a lot more like positive communication when we talked. Like, obviously, sometimes not, but more often than not. Which is probably my favorite boundary that I've had with a narcissist, which my mom set up, and I'm really glad about that. I feel like that was very smart. That's the thing, just gotta find what works for you, but you gotta set boundaries. In a similar vein, segment 4 is managing interactions. When you're with a narcissist, don't escalate, don't argue. Nothing will ever come of it. Just stay calm, and if you gotta leave, just leave. Don't go on and on, because not only will they just blow up, but honestly, they don't care. If you're taking offense, they don't really care. If you're sad, they don't care. They might be a little annoyed, or they might be a little happy about it, but one thing's for sure, they won't be crying about it. Like I said, manage topics. Yeah, definitely set boundaries with topics. Just like, we don't talk about this, we don't talk about that. And if they cross your boundary, be very hard about that. Leave immediately. But also, if you're noticing they're getting on a certain topic, just try to change the topic. If they're just like ranting, just be like, let's talk about something else. Let's do something else. Just flat out tell them, like, you're making me uncomfortable, or like, I feel like you're wasting my time. Please stop. And definitely don't ever take their behavior personally. It's a reflection on them, not you. Segment 5, protecting your mental health. This is very important because narcissists can be challenging. They can definitely be a burden on your mental health. They can make you exhausted. They can make you feel bad about yourself. They can make you feel very lonely. They can make you feel very hurt. They can make you feel dumb, honestly. Like, there are so many things that can come out of others' narcissism. There are few pieces of advice I have. First advice, don't take things personally, like I said. Secondly, Talk to others, share your experiences. This is also good to gauge whether or not you should go no contact, like how serious it really is. But also it's nice, like most people know a narcissist or have a narcissist in their family. A lot of people can relate. You can like talk about your experiences, laugh about it a little even. If you've been raised by a narcissist, I definitely do think you should go to therapy, or if you've been in an abusive narcissistic relationship. And honestly, sometimes you just need to get your frustration out, like go to the shooting range, go do some boxing, just go run in treadmill, whatever. But always, when you have a narcissistic relation, always try to keep tabs on how you're feeling and whether or not it's still worth it. That being said, let's take a break from the heavy talk and go to a Reddit story. Segment 6, the Reddit break. And this is funny. I like this one. Someone in Ask Reddit, actually, oh my god, 7 years ago, asked, what is the best example of narcissism you witnessed? And someone answered, my fiance died, and at the funeral, his ex-wife had a eulogy speech written all about her. That's so funny. How he proposed to her, and on about her and her life and her school and towns, etc. This speech was a brilliant example of denial and narcissistic personality disorder, going way past time permitted and taking up 3/4 of the total time allowed for speaking. She managed to make the life and death of a man all about her in front of a packed full church. They were married less than 2 years and divorced longer than 5 years. She and all her family and friends took up the first several rows in front of the casket, forcing his actual family, parentheses, mom, brother, nephews, cousins, me, and our 6-month-old son, to find other places to sit. She showed up in a limo like she was a movie star, complete with histrionics around playing the wealthy widow, but without the real tears. She kept dabbing a designer hanky around her eyes, but there were no tears. Like a vulture, she was perched and ready for his funeral long before he ever died. Why? In their divorce settlement, she had a stipulation that he was required to carry a $3 million life insurance policy with her as the sole beneficiary. Seriously, she was fucking excited every time he had a health scare. My fiance canceled the policy literally 1 month before passing away. He found a way to have the final say in the relationship, this final FU. At the funeral, she was acting like she already had the $3 million in the bank. Face all frozen, designer dress, limo, and so on. Honestly, it reminds me of like the first funeral in Pretty Little Liars, and everyone has their pretty dresses on. That woman was definitely a narcissist, but at least she was one of those like entertaining narcissists I kind of hinted at earlier. Because that's funny. I mean, it would lighten up my day a little. Also, knowing that she's not getting the money, I'd be like, oh my god, you're doing so much. Segment 7, avoiding gaslighting and manipulation. Narcissists lie. They're so good at lying because their truth is their truth and they just want what they want and they'll do anything. They don't care. They don't feel the difference between lying and telling the truth. That's why a lie detector doesn't work on like a narcissist, a psychopath, a sociopath. Because when they're lying, they're not stressed. They're just like, okay, yeah, let me lie a little, you know? And they gaslight the fuck out of you. If you think you've been gaslit, these are my steps. First of all, repeat the story to yourself. Okay, they said this, then they said that, but then they said that. Does it sound dumb? If it sounds dumb, it's probably not true. Then tell a trusted person, tell your brother, tell your friend, tell your mom, whomever. And if they're like, that's dumb. Because the thing is, if the narcissist came to them first and told it their way, the narcissist could make them believe it. But without all the showmanship, the like lokiness of the narcissist, without all of that added into it and like their way of telling it, when you're just telling it with your own words as a normal person, if it's ridiculous, it's ridiculous. And people will be like, that doesn't sound, no, that can't be true. Also, often just ask for confirmation, ask other people, ask to see their sources, so to speak, ask for the receipts. And if they're not providing you with any receipts, or if other people have contradicting stories, then maybe believe the people you don't suspect to be narcissists. Segment 8, knowing when to walk away. If you're starting to doubt yourself. If you're starting to doubt yourself, if you're scared, if you are literally just feeling like you're being abused, manipulated, gaslit, if you feel the interactions are more negative than positive, if you just feel bad about yourself after talking to someone, or feel bad about the world or whatever, if you're just getting lower self-esteem, you're just like not believing your own sense of judgment, if you're believing that other person over yourself, if you just feel terrible about yourself, then leave. And it's not going to get better. That's for sure. It's a train that only goes one way, you know? And also, don't feel bad. In general, don't do things for others, don't live for others, don't stay for others, but especially if it's a narcissist, your well-being is so important. You are so important. You're your biggest advocate. You're your biggest protector. Like, you need to listen to yourself and you need to look out for yourself and like fuck other people. If you have to, like, just say screw it. If you have to choose, then choose yourself. In conclusions, narcissists don't have to be bad people, but they can be, and if they are, stay away, set boundaries, do whatever you have to do to make their existence either not there in your life or positive in your life. Look for signs of lying, look for signs of grandiosity, of not being able to take criticism, but criticizing others constantly, just feeling they're better than others, talking down to other people, talking about, oh, I could do this so much better, I could be so much better at that, when they've never even done it, or when they don't do it, or if they aren't good at it. And listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, listen to people around you, talk to people around you, trust yourself, love yourself. I love you. And thank you so much for listening to this podcast. It was rather short. I'm going to a movie set to film a movie afterwards, really soon actually, and I'm in Texas, and I am a little bit depleted. I am a little tired. I know I haven't been doing as much as I should. I'm just going on a journey, and it's a little bit tough. And honestly, like, this YouTube channel is helping me. All of you, like, every time you comment, I feel better. I feel less alone, you know, because I am like literally a little bit alone, you know. So thank you for everything you're doing for me just by listening. And the next episode isn't going to be as hard or like as dark as this episode. We are going to talk about how to study efficiently, and that's one of my favorite things ever, so I'm really excited for that, honestly. And just take care. Again, if there's something you want me to talk about, then just reach me on Instagram at Zoe Robertson, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.